Welcome to the Accents Lab. I am so glad you found this podcast. Whether you stumbled across it on YouTube, spotted it in a search, or a friend sent you the link, whatever path brought you here, you are in exactly the right place. My name is Lauren, and today we are opening the doors to the very first session of the Accents Lab. This is episode 1. The beginning of something I genuinely believe is going to change how you experience the English language. So, what is the Accents Lab? Think of it like this. You know how a scientific lab is a place where you take something apart, study all the pieces, figure out why they work the way they do, and then put them back together with a much deeper understanding? That is exactly what we are doing here. But with language. We are not going to hand you a list of vocabulary words and wish you luck. We are going to dig into the why behind English. Why do Americans and British people sound so different when they are technically speaking the same language? Why do English speakers say break a leg when they mean good luck? Where did these phrases even come from? And most importantly, how do you actually use them in a real conversation without sounding like you just read them from a textbook? That is what this lab is for. Each episode, we are going to run experiments. We have a segment called Idiom Investigation, where we take one of those strange, confusing English phrases and put it under the microscope. We have the Slang Spotlight, where we look at words and expressions that are not in any classroom textbook, but are absolutely everywhere in real conversations. We have the Spelling Bee, and this one is a lot of fun. Did you know that Americans and British people sometimes spell the same word completely differently? And we have the literal translation, where we take idioms from other languages and see how they sound when you translate them word for word into English. Spoiler, they often sound absolutely hilarious. Down the road, once our community grows, we are also going to have the Listener Lab, where I actually answer your questions and read your comments out loud. So if you have a word you have heard and cannot figure out, or a phrase that is confusing you, I want to know about it. But today is episode 1. And for episode 1, I wanted to start with something truly foundational. Something that will immediately make you sound more natural, more confident, and more connected to the culture of the English language. Today we are diving into the top 20 English idioms. These are the phrases that native speakers use every single day. In coffee shops, in offices, in text messages, on social media. These are the expressions that when you hear them for the first time you think, wait, that makes absolutely no sense. But when you know them, you sound like you have been speaking English your whole life. Let us get into it. Number 1. Piece of cake. If something is a piece of cake, it means it was very easy. Not just easy. Almost effortlessly easy. Like taking a piece of cake off a plate. No effort required. Example, how was your driving test? Oh, piece of cake. I passed first try. Or at work, can you finish that report by Friday? Definitely, piece of cake. Here is something interesting about this one. It only means something is easy in English. If you translated piece of cake into Spanish or Japanese literally, it would just mean a dessert. This is exactly why idioms are so tricky and so fascinating. Number 2. Break a leg. This one confuses almost every English learner who hears it for the first time. And honestly, it confuses some native speakers too if they have never looked into it. Break a leg means good luck, but you only really use it before a performance. Before a play, a concert, a big presentation, a speech, an audition. Example, I have a job interview in an hour. Break a leg. The origin of this one is actually fascinating. One theory is that in old theater, when audiences loved a performance, actors would bow so deeply that they would break the line of their leg, meaning they would bend their knee all the way to the floor. So wishing someone to break a leg was wishing them such a great performance that the audience would demand multiple bows. Pretty cool, right? Number 3. Under the weather. If you are under the weather, you are feeling a bit unwell. Not terribly sick. Not in an emergency. Just off. Not quite yourself. Example, are you coming to dinner tonight? I don't know, I've been feeling a little under the weather today. Maybe tomorrow. This phrase actually has nautical origins, meaning it comes from life on ships. When sailors got seasick from rough weather, they would go below deck, technically putting them under the weather that was rocking the boat above them. Number 4. The elephant in the room. This is one of my favorites because the image it creates is so vivid. If there is an elephant in the room, it means there is a big obvious problem or uncomfortable topic that everyone is aware of, but nobody wants to bring it up or talk about it. Example, nobody was talking about the fact that the company was losing money. It was the elephant in the room at every single meeting. Number 5. Better late than never. This one is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It means that doing something late is still better than not doing it at all. Example, I just finally started exercising regularly at 42. Well, better late than never. It is also used with a bit of sarcasm sometimes. If someone shows up 90 minutes late to dinner, you might say, with a slightly raised eyebrow, better late than never, I suppose. Number 6. Call it a day. When you call it a day, you decide to stop working on something. Not because it is finished, but because you are done for now. It is a phrase of practical stopping. Example, we have been working on this for 6 hours. Let's call it a day and pick it up tomorrow. You hear this a lot at the end of work days, filming days, construction days. It carries a sense of, we did enough for today. Number 7. Spill the tea. Now we are getting into the good stuff. This is one of the most popular phrases in modern English right now, and it is everywhere. Social media, group chats, conversations between friends. If you want to sound current, you need to know this one. To spill the tea means to share gossip, reveal the truth about a situation, or tell someone the juicy details of what is going on. Example, okay, I heard something happened at the office party last night. Spill the tea. Now here is where it gets really interesting, because there is actually a cultural debate about this phrase. A lot of people assume it comes from British tea culture. You know, the UK's famous love of a good cup of tea and a gossip session. But the actual origin of this phrase is from American drag culture in the 1990s, specifically in the American South. Originally, it was just the letter T, not the drink. T stood for truth. So, spill the tea meant tell me the truth about what happened. Over time, tea became tea, partly because the sound was the same, and partly because the image of spilling something uncontrollably feels just right for gossiping. Once you start, it all comes pouring out. I love this phrase so much that it is actually one of the designs in our Accents Lab store, a tipping teacup with everything spilling out. More on that in a moment. Number 8. Cold feet. Here it is. The phrase I think every single person learning English has felt on a personal level, whether they knew the idiom or not. If you have cold feet, it means you have suddenly lost your nerve before something important. You were going to do something. You had planned it. You were ready. And then at the last moment, doubt or fear crept in and you hesitated. Example, she was supposed to give the presentation, but she got cold feet at the last minute and asked her manager to do it instead. Now here is why this phrase resonates so deeply with language learners. Almost every person learning English has had this experience. You have studied. You have practiced. You know the words. And then someone speaks to you in English, a real conversation, in real life, and suddenly your mind goes blank. Your confidence disappears. You freeze. That is cold feet. And I want you to hear this clearly. That is completely normal. It does not mean you are not good enough. It does not mean you have failed. It just means you are doing something that takes courage. Speaking a language you are still learning is one of the bravest things a person can do. The cold feet feeling means you are right on the edge of a breakthrough. Push through it. That feeling is also why this is one of our most meaningful designs in the Accents Lab shop, a little character standing on a literal block of ice. It is a badge of honor. Number 9. Bite the bullet. If you bite the bullet, you make yourself do something difficult or unpleasant that you have been putting off. You just push through it. Example: I have been avoiding that difficult conversation for weeks. I finally just bit the bullet and called him. The historical origin of this one is a bit dark. Before modern medicine, soldiers undergoing surgery without anesthesia would sometimes be given a bullet to bite down on to help manage the pain. To bite the bullet was to endure something agonizing with as much composure as you could manage. Today, we use it much more casually for things like having a hard conversation, going to the dentist, or finally starting that workout routine. Number 10. Cut to the chase. This means to get to the point. Stop the small talk, stop the background details, and say the important thing directly. Example: I know you have a lot of context, but can you just cut to the chase? What actually happened? The origin here comes from early Hollywood cinema. Old films often had long, slow build-up scenes before the exciting action sequences, the chase scene. Film editors would be told to cut to the chase and get to the exciting part already. The phrase moved into everyday language, meaning skip the boring parts and get to what matters. Number 11. Barking up the wrong tree. If someone is barking up the wrong tree, they are pursuing the wrong course of action, blaming the wrong person, or looking in the wrong place. Example: if you think I took your lunch from the fridge, you are barking up the wrong tree. I don't even like sandwiches. This one comes from hunting dogs. When a dog chased an animal up a tree and then kept barking at that tree, even after the animal had jumped to another tree and escaped, the dog was literally barking up the wrong tree. Number 12. Back to the drawing board. When you go back to the drawing board, your plan has failed and you have to start over from scratch. Example: the client rejected the entire proposal. Back to the drawing board. This phrase comes from engineering and design. A drawing board is where blueprints and plans are drawn. If the plan does not work, you go back to the empty board and start fresh. Number 13. Burn the midnight oil. To burn the midnight oil means to work late into the night. In the days before electricity, you would literally burn oil in lamps to have light after dark. So burning the midnight oil meant you were working so late that you needed artificial light at midnight. Example: I have been burning the midnight oil all week trying to finish this project before the deadline. It carries a sense of dedication and hard work, staying up long after most people have gone to sleep to get something done. Number 14. Hit the nail on the head. If you hit the nail on the head, you have described something exactly correctly, or you have identified the precise cause of a problem. Example: you hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what has been making me feel so stressed. This one is wonderfully literal. If you are hammering a nail and you hit it perfectly on the head, directly on target, the nail goes in cleanly. If you miss, you bend the nail or smash your finger. Precision matters. Number 15. Jump on the bandwagon. If you jump on the bandwagon, you start supporting something or participating in a trend because it has become popular. Not necessarily because you genuinely believed in it from the beginning. Example: everyone suddenly became a huge fan of that sports team after they won the championship. Classic bandwagon jumping. In the 1800s, bands would literally play music from a wagon at political events and parades to attract attention. Politicians would jump on the bandwagon to be seen as part of the exciting popular movement. Today, it usually carries a slightly skeptical tone, like the person only joined because it was the fashionable thing to do. Number 16. Let the cat out of the bag. To let the cat out of the bag means to accidentally reveal a secret. Example: we were planning a surprise party for her, but her brother let the cat out of the bag and told her about it. One theory about the origin of this phrase involves market stalls in medieval times, where dishonest sellers would put a cat in a bag instead of the piglet a customer thought they were buying. If you let the cat out of the bag literally, the trick was revealed. The The fraud was exposed. Whether that is the true origin or not, the image is perfect. Something was hidden, and now it is out. You cannot put it back. Number 17. Once in a blue moon. If something happens once in a blue moon, it happens very rarely. Example, he almost never calls. Once in a blue moon, I'll get a text. But that's about it. A blue moon refers to the rare astronomical event of two full moons appearing in the same calendar month. Since a full moon happens roughly every 29 days, having two in 1 month is uncommon. Roughly once every 2 to 3 years. Hence the sense of rarity. Number 18. Steal someone's thunder. If you steal someone's thunder, you take attention or credit away from someone else. Often by announcing something similar at the same time, or by doing something that overshadows what they were planning. Example, I was going to announce my promotion at dinner, but my sister announced her engagement and kind of stole my thunder. This phrase has a very specific origin story. In the early 1700s, a playwright named John Dennis invented a new device for making realistic thunder sounds in the theater. His play was not successful, but his thunder machine was. After his show closed, the next production staged in the same theater used his thunder device without giving him credit. He famously said they had stolen his thunder. The phrase stuck. Number 19. Through thick and thin. If you stay with someone through thick and thin, you stay loyal through all circumstances. The easy times and the hard times. Example, she has been my best friend for 20 years. We have been through thick and thin together. It is a phrase of deep loyalty and commitment. Thick refers to difficult, overwhelming times, thick mud, thick fog, hard going. Thin refers to times of scarcity, struggle, or vulnerability. Through both you stayed. Number 20. Wrap your head around something. If you are trying to wrap your head around something, you are trying to understand something that is complicated, surprising, or difficult to process mentally. Example, I am still trying to wrap my head around how fast this technology is developing. There is something beautiful about this phrase. Your head, your brain, needs to stretch and bend to contain a new idea. Like wrapping something in paper, your mind is working to surround and hold this unfamiliar concept. And there you have it. 20 idioms. 20 keys to sounding more natural, more confident, and more fluent in English. Now, before I let you go, I want to tell you about something we built for this community. Because I believe that language learning should not just stay in your earbuds. It should come with you into the world. That is why we launched the Accents Lab store on Etsy. We have taken 2 of the phrases from today's episode and turned them into wearable art. Conversation starters. Badges of honor for English learners. The first is the cold feet design. It is a minimalist character standing on a literal block of ice, nervous, brave, and doing it anyway. If you have ever frozen in a conversation, lost your nerve before speaking, or hesitated before finally saying the thing, this shirt is for you. It says quietly but clearly, I have cold feet. And I am going anyway. The second is the spill the tea design. A beautiful tipping teacup with everything pouring out. It is warm, it is a little cheeky, and it is perfect for anyone who loves a good conversation, a good story, or a good dose of the truth. You can find both designs linked in the show notes below. When you wear these, you are not just supporting this show. You are carrying the language with you. Now here is what I want from you. I want you to go to the comments section right now and tell me 3 things. First, where are you in the world? I want to know where our listeners are coming from. Whether it is Sao Paulo or Seoul, Madrid or Mumbai, Tokyo or Toronto, tell me where you are. Second, why are you learning English? Maybe it is for your career. Maybe it is to connect with family abroad. Maybe it is to travel. Maybe it is just because you love language and you want another one. Whatever your reason, I want to hear it. And third, what are your top 3 idioms from your own language? The phrases that, if you translated them into English word for word, would make absolutely no sense. I am obsessed with these. In German, for example, there is a phrase that translates literally as "I think my pig is whistling," which means you are completely astonished. In Spanish, there is a phrase that translates roughly as "there is no bad from which good does not come," similar to our "every cloud has a silver lining," but with a completely different image. I want to collect these. I want to celebrate them. And in future episodes, we are going to compare them, laugh at them, and figure out what they tell us about the people who speak these languages. Your comment might end up in a future episode of the Accents Lab. So here is your homework before our next session. Pick 3 idioms from today's list. Just 3. Use them in a real conversation this week. With a friend, a colleague, in a message, out loud to yourself, it does not matter. Just say them. Let your mouth get used to the shape of them. Let your brain start filing them away as familiar. And when you do, notice how people respond. Because when you drop a perfectly timed piece of cake into a conversation, or when you tell a friend to spill the tea, something shifts. You stop sounding like someone who learned English from a textbook. You start sounding like someone who lives in the language. That is what the Accents Lab is here for. I am so grateful you spent this time with me today. If you found this helpful, please subscribe. It is the single best way to make sure you never miss an episode. And leave a comment. Even just a word or a flag emoji to tell me where you are from. It means more than you know. This has been episode 1 of the Accents Lab. Do not let your cold feet stop you. Keep practicing. And I will see you in the next session.